Okay, so this next little video is about reflection, dispersion, and just diffraction and what they basically are. So you don't really get asked too much about reflections, except maybe just what the law of reflection is. So we have our incident ray coming in, and we have our reflected ray coming off. So it's just the rebound off a surface. Remember, reflections are all types of waves, not just light. Okay, and when we talk about the incident ray, we talk about our angle of incidence. Okay, and our angle of incidence is always measured between the ray and the normal line, that imaginary line that is perpendicular to the surface. And the reflected ray will reflect back out, okay, at an angle of reflection, and the angle of incidence is equal to our angle of reflection. All right, so in this case, that is our law of reflection there. The angle of incidence is equal to the angle of reflection. This is like off a mirror, for example. If I was looking at light, it could be like sound waves, like off a wall, like in a cave, like an echo. It could be the walls of a microwave, for like a microwave oven. Now, sometimes we talk about like seeing the image and constructing the image. So that's sometimes been a little question on the paper. It's usually like just 1 mark or something, but sometimes asks you to draw the following lines. So let's say this is the object and the person is looking at the mirror to see the object. We would construct 2 lines from the object to the mirror and drawing them back towards where they would go to the eye. And then in this case, we would then draw the lines going backwards to show where the I'm so sorry guys, to show where the image would be constructed. Okay, and we can see at this point they're at the same height, they're at the same distance away, they would be the same size. So that's how we show our reflected images. All right. Dispersion is another thing of refraction. Now I've done a video on refraction already, so this is just another application of it. And this is where we have things like white light being shone at a prism, okay, and we then see that it's been split into its spectrum, so we call this dispersion. Essentially, it's being refracted. Now, the refraction is going through different amounts, okay, because they've got different wavelengths, so they're refracted different amounts as they go through. Again, we can link that all the way back to Snell's law with sine theta 1 over sine theta 2, which is equal to lambda 1 over lambda 2. So again, we can see we've got those relationships there. Now, it's just in case here you can see that red has been refracted the least and violet has been refracted the most. So when we're looking at those equations there. So I've not really seen many on the IB that have asked about this, but I just wanted to conclude it because you never know. They could use it as an application, for example, with Snell's law, you see. The last one then is diffraction, and diffraction, whereas refracting is the bending of light and reflection is the rebounding of light, diffraction is the spreading of light. Okay, and we normally show this using the wavefront diagrams, and I'm really sorry this one was drawn really badly. As we look at this one, we can see that we've got wavefronts approaching the gap. Now, this time they're not equal to the slit gap, so we have only a minimal amount of diffraction. So when I'm showing minimal diffraction, I'm just showing it curving at the ends, and I really should have those wavefronts being about spaced equally. I'm just not very good at drawing it, guys, as we go round. Here, we can see that the wavefronts, okay, so the wavelength is much more equal to the gap size. So here we're going to get maximum diffraction. So we get max diffraction, okay, when lambda is equal to the slit size, okay, so it's equal to the gap in that case. We also can have diffraction though happening around objects as well as not just through gaps, so we can also have them diffracting around objects as we go through. So I've just drawn an example in there. And yeah, that one is just a really simple little one on refraction, diffraction and dispersion.